everyone. From wherever you are, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. And this is the kickoff meeting for the Africa Youth Dialogues. And just to give you a context as to what this dialogue means for us as African youth. So for those, as you are well aware, the UN Food Systems Summit is being convened in 2021, which is just a few weeks from now. And as African youth for inclusivity, we have taken a forefront in this. Africa has the largest and the youngest youth population in the world. And in order for this SDG on zero hunger to be a reality, we cannot move forward without having the youth involved. And as the Youth Food Systems Summit in 2021 aims at a transformative trajectory for systems to ensure, among other needs, safe and nutritious food for all, more sustainable consumption patterns that minimize food loss and food waste, and boost nature's positive production. The youth in Africa are expressing strong readiness and passion in seizing this opportunity to actively contribute to the processes in delivering solutions that support transformation of food systems. Even alone in this, I am joined by fellow panelists, and I will take the liberty to introduce them. Dr. Martin is the Deputy to the Special Envoy, UN Food Systems Summit. Welcome, Dr. Martin. And we also have with us Mike Nkunga, the Vice Chair of one of the action tracks of the UN Food Systems Summit, and he will tell us shortly about this action track as we welcome him on board. And we also have Divine and Tiakam, Cameroon. He is a food system youth champion and also the founder of the Climate Smart Agriculture Youth Network. I'm also joined by a lovely lady, and she's also my friend, Unike Piri. She is the CEO of Young Emerging Farmers Association, and followed by Tabby Joda, who works with Grade 8 and is a food systems hero as well. And closer home, I have a fellow Kenyan with me. She is called Esther Wanza. She is the focal point of the UN Major Group for Children and Youth. And I would like to also let you know who is moderating the session. My name is Amanda Namai. I am Go Getters Lead at Generation Africa, which is one of the thematic platforms of the AGRF. And I am a food systems hero as well. So I would like to set the stage for this conversation by showing us a video of what a strong food system entails.
Provide.
To me,
a strong food system
can end hunger
and malnutrition in all its forms.
Provide us nourishment,
which promotes human health at every step.
To me,
a strong food system means
ensuring food security for all, even during a pandemic.
Para mí, un sistema alimentario fuerte significa
priorizar lo nutritivo,
active family participation,
making markets easy and accessible,
considering the produce I grow.
To me,
a strong food system means
no matter your race, no matter your class, no matter where you live,
everyone around the world,
all people,
both men and women,
even the poorest families,
everyone
has access to healthy,
sufficient, affordable, local,
and nutritious food
all year round, every month, every day of the week.
Great. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Martin Frick, and just a few questions for you, Dr. Martin, as you take the stage. So as Deputy to the special envoy of the UN Food System Summit, could you kindly give us some updates on what the goings on with the Food System Summit, and also let us know as young people what to expect? Dr. Martin.
Yeah, hi everybody. I always find it difficult to say a greeting because you don't know in what time zone people are. But wherever you are, warm greetings here and congratulations to organizing this event. You said it in the beginning, Africa is a young continent, and this is supposed to be a young summit with strong young leaders. And I'm happy to see my friends online, Tavi, Divine, Mike, all the people I have been working with for a long time. This is your moment. This really is your moment. This is the moment to turn things around. And, there are so many different possibilities how you can engage. And a couple of things went online. I will also put it in the chat box for sharing, which is all of our 5 action tracks are now fully operational. They had all 5 open fora, digitally hosted, with literally thousands of people participating. All 5 of these action tracks have surveys out there, so you can input there. And all of them, and that's the most important one, do have youth vice chairs. We were discussing about how to best engage youth, and the conclusion was we don't want to have some token young people who are allowed to be there. We need people who take leadership, because this is a young planet, and this is, where you will be coming in. Let me also say that we are, as you might know, hosting Food System Summit dialogues in every member state of the United Nations. We have 26 countries confirmed as of today. We have 26 countries coming online very soon. And I'm very proud of that, because it took less than 4 weeks for more than 50 countries to be mobilized. And we hope for you, all of you, that wherever you are, you work with the government, you push this government to host Food System Summit dialogues to make your voice heard. And also, and in addition, all of you are invited to do your own independent dialogues, to bring a young perspective in and to work with us, basically to really turn food systems around. And I don't know whether I will have a second chance to speak, but I have also some ideas how to do that. But back to you, Amanda.
Thank you for that. And speaking of engagement, you have mentioned that you've worked with Yunke, Divine, Mike, and Tabby, and we would also like to hear from them what you have been discussing, what they're doing. And I'd like to invite Mike Kunga. Mike, I'd like you to just tell us about yourself, what you've been doing, and also why you decided to be a vice chair and how it's been for you.
Well, thank you so much, Amanda, and thanks everyone for joining. I think this is our first kickoff meeting, and I'm very excited to be here. Well, my name is Mike Kunga. I come from Malawi, and I'm the vice chair for Action Track 5, which is building resilience to vulnerabilities, shocks, and stress. So basically, let me start by introducing to my colleagues, as you can see from the pictures. So most of the times when we talk about food, we talk as a thing that unites us. So food connects us, it brings us together, it unites us in a number of ways. Next slide, please. But have we ever taken a look in terms of the food that we eat? From your left side, you can see that is a sima, and it's the food which is most consumed in almost many countries in Africa. Others call it shima, others call different names, but it's a maize flour paste. But the majority of the food that we usually consume in Africa, as you can see from this picture, they are not adequate when it comes to nutrients. They lack a number of nutrients, and that also impacts in terms of our development. Next slide. Well, but we can improve ourselves in a number of ways. We have seen from studies and even from ourselves in a various number of ways that eating a balanced diet, eating a good food is very paramount when it comes to our health. It build us and also motivates us to do our work in a number of ways. And without wasting much of the time, I think the last slide is showing the capacity that as we can come together as African youth, no matter where we come from, no matter where we come from, our communities, our families, we can come together, and together we can build Africa. Together we can ensure that food system is strengthened across all countries in Africa. So, can I continue, Amanda?
Yeah. Yes, please.
Right, thank you so much. So, as I said, that no matter what, no one can argue among ourselves and the rest of African youth that Africa is the most affected by food crisis, malnutrition, and all other pandemics that comes along with food shortage and the like. Despite that, but the continent which we live here in Africa is rich in terms of resources. We have enough land, and also in terms of capacity. We can do a lot with the resources which we have, but most of the times we fail to feed our nation. So the coming in of the food system is going to open our eyes, especially the young people. As much as we are living in different countries, but we can join one another in a more progressive way and contribute to the actions and solutions of the system of the food system summit. So let me stop here for this time around.
All right. I would also like to pose a question to you. Yes, so you are based in Lilongwe, and I would like you to just tell the audience, as a young person, how can they participate and engage in the action tracks, whether in Lilongwe or in Africa? And before you answer that, I would like to acknowledge and welcome Ambassador Hans Hoogeven, His Excellency. Ambassador Hans is the permanent representative of the Netherlands to the UN Organizations for Food and Agriculture. And also, he is the chair for the Global Alliance for Climate Smart Agriculture, GACSA, who are our hosts for this session. Welcome very much, Ambassador Hans Hoogeven, and we are very happy to have you join us. Now, back to you, Mike. Just for you to refresh your memory, I had asked how other young people can get to participate in the food systems dialogue, whether in Lilongwe, and also how to be more active in action track number 5.
Yeah, thanks so much. I think Martin kind of highlighted the dialogues that is going to happen in almost each and every country in Africa. So there are 3 across dialogues: the independent dialogue, the in-country dialogues, and the like. So I pledge my support, especially to the young people in Lilongwe, and also as we are connected to various countries, I think we can pledge the support even to all the countries that much as these dialogues are happening, let us ensure that the young people take a key role in participating in these dialogues. Apart from these dialogues that they're going to develop solutions at country level, there are also action tracks. So action tracks are kind of objectives of the United Nations Food System Summit, and there are 5 of them. The first one is ensuring access to safe and nutritious food for all. So this action track 1 is led by the director of Global Alliance for Improved Nutrition. At the same time, there's action track 2. So action track 2 is shifting to a sustainable consumption pattern. No one can argue. We consume a lot of food which is not necessary for us to consume, a lot of food that are high in calories, a lot of food that are not healthy at all. So much as we are progressing in action track 2, we want to ensure that the communities or the people in Africa, they consume food which is healthy, at the same time creating a demand for healthy and sustainable food. So that is the action or the solution that will be produced by action track 2. Action track 3 is boosting nature positive production. A lot of climate change is happening. We need to produce things that is conducive to our climate. Action track 3 is going to develop solutions around that. Action track 4 is ensuring that we advance in terms of equitable livelihoods and value distribution. As you know, food system is not only consumption. Food system comes from farm to fork. There are a lot of processes which take place. So all these processes have to be enhanced. So action track 4 will be looking for that. And I'm connected to Action Track 5, which is building resilience to vulnerabilities, shocks, and stress. So the emphasis of Action Track 5 is ensuring that there's a continued functionality of food system and healthy food, even within in areas where there's conflict. We have to make sure that food system is enhanced across all areas, despite conflict, despite wars, despite famine, despite everything. So these are the action tracks of the UN Food System Summit. So I'm going to post a link.
Yes, as you
Yes,
post the link.
I'm going to send a link for any of you who is interested to join this action track. And let me pledge my support lastly that if any one of you is willing to join this action track, I am available and we're going to start the thing just like that. Yeah, back to you, Amanda. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mike. Looking forward to seeing the link. And speaking of links, we have a chat box here where we will be posting links relevant to the various topics that we will be discussing, how to be a food systems hero yourself, and also please follow at Food Systems Summit on Twitter. Please tweet away. If you have questions, kindly post them in the chat box and we will relay them to the panelists. And the hashtag is Food Systems Summit. Please tell us your name, where you're from, and we'll be happy to just keep this engagement going. Thank you very much, Mike. I would like to welcome Divine Tiakam. He is the founder of CSAYN, the Climate Smart Agriculture Youth Network, and he's joining us from Cameroon. Divine, could you kindly just tell us briefly about what it is that you do and how does that link to food systems?
Yeah, thank you very much, Amanda. Hi to everyone. I'm so delighted to be part of this panel. Yeah, actually, as the founder of Climate Smart Agriculture, as we all know, Climate Smart Agriculture has triple wins: mitigation, adaptation, and actually improving productivity of smallholder farmers. So I'm really keen to ensure that the Climate Smart Agriculture Youth Network actually leverages a lot of its potentials to get the food system much more sustainable. And asking me how does it contribute to food systems? It's for sure that when we improve productivity and production of the smallholder farmers, it's actually going to make sure that the food system and actually gives this for employment as far as young people are concerned, especially on the continent of Africa and beyond. The next point I want to talk about is looking at our education. Actually, CSAYN being a voluntary network, which has actually been able to pull 65 countries on board, with, of course, Amanda being one of the members, initiators in Kenya, which is doing very great. Amanda, thank you for that. I'm very happy to say that many days back, we were talking of sustainable agriculture. And right now, the food system is actually just a new scheme to push this sustainable agriculture forward. Yeah, so in all the 65 countries where we are and really growing so far, we're very keen in ensuring that the smallholder farmers in the community level are actually at the forefront of this food system summit as well.
Thank you very much, Divine. So as a food systems youth champion, how are you encouraging the youth to join the Champions Network?
Yeah, thank you very much once more, Amanda and colleagues. Yeah, the food system, being a food system champion, first of all, it's I'll really thank the Secretariat for nominating me for this position, which actually means that some of the work done many years ago has not been ignored. So it is actually accumulation of efforts. And I feel that the young people whom we have been working with, many of them are actually very passionate and have been sharing the link of this food system euros for them to join, which of course most of them have joined so far, and we shall keep on triggering that. So one of my key missions is to ensure that at the country level, with the UN country teams, that is 32 agencies at country levels, should be able to mainstream young people's voices in the whole process, right up to the summit and equally after the summit. So I'm right there, very happy and keen to drive this energy across the continent and beyond. And how do I encourage young people? I actually make sure that most of them subscribe at Food System Euros. I don't really relent my efforts to make that happen. And until they do, then will I be satisfied. Thank you very much.
Great, and I can actually vouch for that. I know Divine is doing an absolutely splendid job of encouraging youth to join the network. Now, I would like to call upon Unique Piri and also remind us to just post your questions in the chat box if there's anything that you'd like to mention to any of the panelists. Let's keep it active, let's keep it engaging, and tweet away. Please tag at food systems and the hashtag is food systems. Unique, welcome on board. How is Zambia? What are you doing? What are you up to? And you are working with women and young farmers. Could you please share with us some of the issues that are taking place where you are and some of the challenges in the last 10 months of the COVID-19 pandemic?
Thank you very much, Amanda, and it's good to see everybody. And I must say thank you to GACSA for hosting this webinar for us. Zambia is doing very well. We have the rains now. It's farming season, so most of our farmers are in the fields. I had to take time off to come and make sure I have good connectivity, here at home. Otherwise, I would have been in the field. I think the last couple of months have really been a trying moment, I think, for everybody, across the entire globe. I think it would be right for me to say we are glad, 2020 is getting done with, and we're looking forward to 2021. In terms of performance in the agriculture sector, I think we were hit badly by COVID-19. Especially for us, the youth and women in the agriculture sector. And, this is due to the fact that, most of our smallholder farmers, especially in the rural areas, lack capacity in terms of access to digital platforms to enable them to, conduct their business in a more efficient and effective manner. So when COVID struck, we had farmers in the rural areas who didn't really know what was going on and just how to go about, their business, and that really affected them negatively. We also saw, so many interruptions in the supply chain, in terms of inputs, such as seeds and fertilizer. And as you are aware, we had lockdowns, national lockdowns in terms, in some countries we had, border lockdowns. So you find that in a situation where a farmer, is relying on pesticides that are coming in from neighboring countries, some of them weren't coming, on time, and that, greatly affected, their production. So there was also an aspect that we saw that was very prevalent was, food loss and food wastage. We just didn't know how to, how to conduct ourselves, how to conduct our businesses, because, there are times you couldn't go and sell, your produce at a market because maybe there was a lockdown and the government said, you can't meet in this certain market, or you can't meet in this certain area. So for the majority of the smallholders that were involved in fresh fruits, and vegetable produce, most of their produce went to waste because the majority of the smallholder farmers actually don't have proper storage, facilities. We also had, lack of access to nutritional foods, because, agriculture is a system, so if one part of the system is not working, it means, the entire system, gets flawed. But, it was very interesting to see that, we went back to some of our indigenous fruits and vegetables. I don't know, Amanda, maybe you'll be able to share some of the slides, just so that people are able to, see some of the nutritious foods, especially the indigenous foods that we have here in Zambia that, so most of us going back to, to our fields and our little gardens to start planting, because, we couldn't get, certain foods through neighboring countries because of lockdowns. So we had people, starting their little gardens, planting. I would use my local language. I hope you'll be able to understand and see them once Amanda starts sharing the slides. Yeah. So these are some of the indigenous vegetables that we have. In the first slides, we have chihuahua and beans. Then we have, impua and groundnuts. We could move on to the next slide, Amanda. So these are some of the nutritious, foods that we started going back to because we couldn't get access to some of the foods that were coming in from the neighboring countries, So some of these vegetables are highly nutritious. Some people didn't know about them. And after lockdown, we saw that people started actually wanting to eat healthy, started, eating, these kinds of vegetables. So really, COVID-19 has really had its pros and cons, especially on smallholder farmers, especially the youth and women here in Zambia. But I think we're now getting back on track. Over to you, Amanda.
Oh, sorry. Thank you, Unike, for that. It's really important that we go back to our traditional indigenous vegetables that are very, very nutritious. It's unfortunate. I don't think you could see my presentation, or rather the display, but I hope some of you could see what Unike had shared with us, some of the pictures on screen. There is a question here from Kalistas Tadong to all the panelists. Any one of you can take it. And he's asking, how can we change the lenses with which young people still look at agriculture in the continent of Africa? So I'll start with you, Unike. I know you are a farmer and you're a lady and you're young. So especially as as a young woman, what are the perceptions of agriculture, and how can we change the lens with which other people view agriculture in Africa?
Okay, first and foremost, people have so many perceptions about agriculture. Some time back, people used to think agriculture is for people who, haven't been successful in certain particular, careers. It was for people who failed, and it was, people were looking down, on it. But even for women, very few women, were engaged in agriculture, and that's one perception that people had, that saying, most women are not involved in agriculture. But if you take a census, you find that the majority of people who are actually farming are women. So that's a perception that people were getting wrong. So looking forward, you find that there are different components in the agricultural value chain that you can position, yourself in. It's not only about production, and I think that's something that people really should bear in mind. Agriculture is not just about tilling land. There's so many aspects of agriculture that you can work in. You can do packaging, you can do branding, you can do marketing, you can do advertising, so many value additions that you can bring on board. So, we really have to change the perception of agriculture, looking at it as just tilling of, of the land, but so many aspects that it comes with. Over to you, Amanda.
Thank you, Unike. That's quite insightful. Divine, you are the founder of CSAYN. It's spread across 65 countries. How do you see the perception of agriculture changing in Africa? You're on mute, Divine.
Yeah, thanks very much, Amanda, for this. Yeah, actually, the first intention or impression of young people was just as Unike said earlier on. But right now, the mindset has really changed because with the COVID situation, ICT has become a forefront tool to engage young people in agriculture. Many young people, as you know, they're innovative and very exciting as far as ICT is concerned. So they are using their ICT skills to go into what we call e-banking, e-marketing, online marketing, and it has really given a lot of pull and push among young people to get into agriculture. Now, it is looked much more as a business. Young people look at it as a business now. They're so impressed. Many young people, especially in Cameroon and other African countries where we actually operate, they are very excited to call themselves farmers. And young people getting into the business right now, it's really at the top of the game. So really, I think it's the mindset has changed for the past 4 years, and we really have to keep pushing for this agenda to move. Thank you very much indeed.
All right. I would like to flip the program a little bit and invite Ambassador Hans Hugeveen. I had introduced him earlier on. He is the chair of GACSA, who are our hosts for today. Ambassador Hans, please, we are happy to hear from you. Ambassador Hans Hugeveen? Could we perhaps have technical team assist? He's muted and we cannot see him in case he's speaking.
Hi, Amanda. Unfortunately, I don't know what's happening. Just a second. Just give me a few seconds, please. Thanks.
All right. In the meantime, please post your questions in the chat. We are about to enter the second session of this event. Please tweet, tag at Food Systems, tag Martin Frick as well at CM Frick. The hashtag is Food Systems. Yeah, we'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have pertaining to the UN Food Systems Summit and even Africa's food systems as a whole. So tweet away, tell us who you are, what you do, and how you'd like to engage with the panelists. I have posted the panelists' Twitter accounts in the chat box. So let's keep engaging as we have Yana try to address this issue. Meanwhile, we have greetings from Rosin Ogunsola. Welcome on board. And we also have Samuel Adunreke from Innovare Development Foundation. So yeah, please, let me see some of the questions that are here, if there's some that we can answer. Meanwhile, a lot of you have expressed your interest in joining the Food Systems Summit and the dialogues. Mike has done a great job in posting the relevant links. Thank you, Mike. Yeah, so you can check out the links. You can reach out to any one of the food system champions here. Yana, do we have any headway?
No, unfortunately, I do not have any updates at this moment. So if the ambassador, if he can hear us, we would be very grateful to turn on your mic, please, and your camera. So the floor is yours. Okay, thank you, Amanda. I think you can continue with the program and we can try later on in a couple of minutes. Thank you.
All right. Yes, apologies for that as they try to get the ambassador on. Yes, I appreciate everyone who is posting here in the group. I would like us to go into the second segment of this event. Now, I would like to welcome Esther Wanza, who will tell us a little bit about herself. Esther, welcome.
Thank you so much, Amanda. So my name is Esther Wanza. I'm the United Nations Major Group and Children's Youth Focal Point for the African region. That is in support of the United Nations Food Systems Summit. I'm also an energy business mentor at Energy for Impact. My background is in the renewable energy. And I'm so excited to be in these, to interact with people in the food system space. I believe these two areas are interdependent, they depend on each other. So my work has mainly been on research and development, offering trainings to off-grid communities, to women, to youth in the energy value chains, and also which relate to productive use of energy, that is such as cold rooms. I've been involved in projects which are focused in creating a relationship between the energy and food sector. Also training rural women and youth who are in the agricultural sector on the main areas on technological advancements and technological areas they can incorporate in their agricultural practices to ensure that they ensure they efficiently produce their produce. I mean, they have efficient processes. So that's mainly what I've been doing, at Energy for Impact. Thank you.
Wow, that's great. Oh, there seems to be some echo. Are we able to have Ambassador Hans, Yana, or should we move on?
Thank you, Amanda. Unfortunately, I do not have any updates, so please continue with the program. Thank you.
All right. Now, Esther, what would you like to tell the audience about future events and plans?
I strongly believe that renewable energy can play a key role in bridging the food insecurity in Africa. Technologies such as cold rooms, climate smart agriculture practices, solar irrigation, solar milling have the potential to significantly improve the livelihoods of smallholder farmers and small traders in the off-grid and weak grid areas. And this is by reducing the post-harvest loss. Unike talked about some of the challenges farmers in country have been experiencing over these the COVID this year due to the COVID pandemic. So these are some of the areas that energy sector or renewable energy technologies can come in. That is, they can add value to their crops. They can help them understand the crop, how to grow with the different crops in different seasons, and also increase their profit through greater bargaining power at the market, and enable them to have better commercialization of agricultural produce in regional and international market. So establishing these technologies in off-grid environments would effectively support development and ensure food security in changing climate. In terms of future plans, I have shared a link to the United Nations Food System Summit social media toolkit. I would encourage more youths to come up with video statements with GIFs and also come up with creative, fun ways of making them to be involved in the Food System Summit, and also to feel a part of it and to have a voice in some of the actions which have been going to be generated in the Food System Summit. And also I would encourage more dialogues, independent dialogues among the youths, which we are going to have youth to showcase and project what they are doing in their communities. What is it about the African food systems which can be of help to people from other regions, and the great things going on in the communities. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Esther. I would like to invite at this point Tabby Joda. I know you're very passionate about youth and agricultural innovation. Could you please tell us about your work very, very briefly, and how African youth can take advantage of the UN System Summit to get their voices heard? So Tabby, welcome.
Thank you very much, Amanda, and thank you, everyone. And thank you, my very great mentor, Martin Frick. It's wonderful to have you out of your very busy schedules with us this morning to share your always inspiring interventions. I'm always very inspired by you, and I remain utterly grateful. Thank you, Amanda. I think for most of you who know me, I've been on the field driving innovation from the ground with the people on the field where it matters most, because every food that you see on every table anywhere comes from somewhere, and that process always is very important, and that is where I am, where the seeds are nursed, where the plants are grown, and where the people are thinking about how to change from season to season, and how they're changing from the different dynamics and driving the different changes that counteract the different challenges that they are facing on the field. That is where bringing on board the innovative transformations that actually make our food systems really, really inclusive, resilient, and sustainable. And as you might have known, many of you know me, I'm always there. I'm ambassador for the Great Green Wall, the African Union, ambassador for the African Forest Land Restoration Initiative of the AUD NEPAD, and I'm equally president for the Nurturing Enterprising Young African in agricultural technologies in the continent. And of course, at this juncture, I'm also providing strategic leadership for the African youth leaders towards the lead to the UN Food System Summit and beyond. And it's my very wonderful pleasure. Amanda, you can drive the slide to the next one. I have very little to say, but the video can speak more.
Hello, I'm Tabi Joda, a farmer and a food systems hero. I'm currently right in Zuba Market in Abuja, Nigeria, and I'm very concerned about the fact that over 30% of our food that's produced is being wasted. And the question is why? And right here as I'm standing, you can look right at my back here. There's a pile of oranges in this orange market. You can find out this is about 30% of all what is all what is put together here. So much of it is going on waste. Why? This tells us that our food systems are failing and they need transformation. The question is, why are millions of people going hungry when there is sufficient food produced around the world? So my participation in food systems transformation, my engagement is to see that we repair the systems, we transform the systems, making sure.
Okay.
Next slide.
Okay.
Hello. Hello.
Next slide, please.
We harvest land purposely to feed our animals. And once we plant in between the other crops, we now repeat them so that we can substitute the feed for the animals with this as fresh vegetable, because they actually need it for good nutrition.
Next slide, Amanda.
Fish pond, 6 feet by 1.5 meters. This is the kind of ponds that we produce for small-scale fish production, which you can keep in a very small space at home, so you can produce fish. And here we can keep up to 300 fish, depending on management. Water comes in from here, supply, and then this I now have to pay down to it.
Next slide, Amanda. Okay. So that is to tell you that we have a challenge, a fundamental challenge, where we see that 35% above of what we produce is wasted. And that is partly why enough food is equally produced, but millions of people in Africa where I live are hungry. Children suffer malnutrition, they suffer stunting and undernourishment. The question is why? This is an important question to all of us because it calls for urgent actions to transform our food systems to ensure that everyone does not only have enough food on their table to eat, they have food that is safe and nutritious, like Mike and Fury earlier cited. And the 2021 UN Food Systems Summit aims to be inclusive and engaging all people, especially the youth, and we are leading this process. And this will provide a huge avenue of opportunities for African youths at every level, in whatever community you may be, whether you are in the cattle rearing peripheries of Karamoja in Uganda, or you are in the farm fields of Kuchala in Mali, and whether you've gone to school or not, whether you are educated or not, and whether you speak the language that we are currently speaking now or not, whatever language, or even you're on wheelchair, my friends, this is the time the Food System Summit processes offer a huge opportunity for all of you to actually let your voices heard, and not just your voices heard. You it is an opportunity that showcases or presents the advantage where you can showcase whatever you have as innovations. You've seen the earlier innovations that I'm sharing, which are the solutions, the transformative solutions that I'm providing right there on the field. You too have what it takes, each and every one of us. So come on board, join the action, join the momentum. Let's lift the button of food system transformation in Africa, and bring in different solutions at different levels. And of course, in case you are wondering how you could engage in this process, we have different platforms. Some I have shared on the chat. You check very well. The UN Food System website is open to everyone to access and register as a food system hero like me. You have the African Hub on Facebook, on Twitter, and Instagram, where you can engage. And of course, it's important to note that not everyone has access to internet. So we are equally working on offline tools and training and learning materials where we should be able to reach those who are unreachable, often unreachable in the grassroots at every level. In whatever language you are speaking in Africa, we will be reaching down to you to make sure that the entire engagements around food systems transformation is an engagement that we all are on board working together. And of course, we'll be hosting series of youth-led dialogues and collaborating on different initiatives at different levels to shape our national and continental policies and science, which you all know it's important. The science changes as every day is changing and the food systems are changing, so the science has to change. As the sciences are changing, the policies equally have to change, and that's why we all also have to change. And this change will not be driven by one person, it will be driven by you and I. And that's why I want to call upon you, my dear friends. If ever there was a time for us to come together and salvage our food systems in Africa, I dare say this is the time. I call upon you all to invoke your genius, take your space on the table. Let's work together as one. If we don't offer our best for Africa, my dear friends, who will do it for us? Each one of us here has the capacity, have what it takes to bring the commensurate transformation on board, and we have good leadership. Don't forget our African proverb. If we want to go fast, we go alone. If we want to go far, we go together. And this is the time we need to go together so that we can present the biggest and strongest ever, gains for Africa at the UN Food Systems and Food Systems Summit and beyond. Thank you, Amanda. And if you have any question for me, I'm ready to respond. Thank you.
Thank you for that clarion call, Tabby. As you can see, he's a leader in his own right. He's president of this, leader of that, right? I mean, you just keep taking leadership roles, and you have really, really done a great job in encouraging the youth to take up their space and be heard, and not just to be heard, but to do something about it. The videos were really insightful. That it's not just about fancy presentations, but you actually get down and get your hands dirty, so to speak. Now we are in the segments that we are all so happy to have, which is the Q&A. And I will set things off with a question from Stefano Batain. And I will pose this question to Dr. Martin Frick. Now, Stefano says that he's wondering the current level of engagement and participation from youth living in African, fragile, and conflict-affected countries where food systems are even more volatile. So from your standpoint, as the deputy envoy, how do you see this participation, especially from African countries?
Well, firstly, it's an absolute essential. If we are talking about food systems transformation, we really need every single person on this planet. That's a very tall order. In unstable and in conflict situations, we know that food security is suffering and that people are malnourished and hungry. But rarely we see the relation the other way around, because often when land is degraded, when water is lost, instability follows. So I often see a potential to actually turn degraded land back into agricultural use, to provide the food security, to build the stability, to give people a common project, and to build livelihoods out of unstable situations. So really it goes two ways. It's not only that food insecurity is a consequence of instability, but food security can create stability. And that needs work from the bottom up.
Wow, from the bottom up. That's a very, actually, it's unfortunate we are having technical challenges with Ambassador Hans, but earlier last year, there was an event on how food security and conflict are inextricable. And yeah, you've actually given quite great insight, Dr. Martin. And now we have, I would like to pose a question, and I will read it out. This is from Olumide Idowu. He's asking, how do we keep advocacy for young farmers to attract funding to scale up their businesses? This is a very interesting question. I will throw it back to you again, Dr. Martin Frick. You and I, we had a meeting alongside Jolly and Dixon, if you remember, and this was a very good question that we were discussing during our meeting. So how would you address this?
It's all about the money, isn't it? And across all of the 5 action tracks, we have built 3 cross-cutting themes because they're important for all action tracks. That's gender, innovation, and it's finance. And in the finance work track, we bring together big public money actors such as the World Bank or the African Development or the Green Climate Fund or the GEF, but we are also bringing in private sector financiers. And we need a joint effort here. It basically starts with the companies that are paying too little for smallholder farmers. So, if you are buying in New York a cup of cappuccino, you might be paying $5. 2 cents of that go to the producer. If you turn these 2 cents into 4 cents, that would be doubling the income of the producer. It would be a world of difference. And the cup of cappuccino in New York would still be sold for $5. Customers wouldn't even notice it. So here's a question of fairness and bringing value down the value chains. Then the second bit is tenure security, particularly for women. In many places in Africa, there is still difficulties with tenure rights for women. And it is the most important thing if you start a business, that at least you have a piece of land and you can relate to your investors what you're actually talking to. Then it's access to markets. It's the possibility to bring your food to the consumer. And here there is innovation. Like, for example, you can have cold storage powered by renewable energy, by solar. that gives you a completely different access to markets, or simple food processing, like trying fish, smoking it, like processing, doing canned foods, and so on. So we need a joint effort because there is not one bit which is missing, but we need to get the whole circle right. And this is why this is a food system summit and not just a food summit, because we need the energy people, we need the transport people, we need the finance people, we need all of them coming together, and we need to show them how many young, strong entrepreneurs are on the African continents, hungry for business opportunity, ready to really work on that and turn it around. And on the other side, from the side of the big food companies, I see that they understand that, externalities their business model is causing is going to hurt them as well. And I see a readiness for more inclusive business, more interest in the value chain. Also customers who are asking, where is my food coming from? How is it being produced? Is it nutritious? Is it coming out of a fair production? And this is slowly but steadily changing. And I think there's a giant chance here for young entrepreneurs. You're muted.
Oh, sorry. Yes, the joys of virtual meetings. Yes, thank you for that, Dr. Martin Frick. We also have another question from Pat, who asks Unike and Divine that there is a paradox that 70% of smallholder farmers are actually hungry. So, Unike, you're a farmer yourself, and also very briefly, Tabby, you can also tell us, with your work on the ground, how is it that 70% of smallholder farmers are hungry? Or so it is said.
Thanks, Amanda. Indeed, it's a disturbing paradox, especially when you get to see the numbers, because the majority of the food produced on the continent is by smallholder farmers, and to know that they are the ones that are on the lower end of the spectrum is really something that needs urgent attention. One thing that I've noticed with smallholder farmers is that sometimes they tend to just focus on growing one particular crop. For myself, and I'm speaking from experience, I would like to see a situation where we encourage smallholder farmers to grow various crops on their pieces of land, so that they're able to get different sources of nutrients from different vegetables that they're growing. And also it also comes down to how they prepare the food. I think food preparation is also one thing that we really have to tell and educate people, especially smallholder farmers. Food preparation, how do we prepare food so that nutrients are not lost? So that's something really that we really have to advocate. How do we prepare the food? How do we grow our food, so that it's healthy? If your soils are not healthy, then obviously you're not going to harvest, something that is good for your body. So these are the talks, these are the dialogues that we should be speaking about. How do we encourage smallholder farmers to prepare food that is nutritious, to eat foods that are nutritious? So, it's really something that we have to continue talking about, and that's just not, end there. It's unfortunate that it's happening, but we don't have to stop here. We have to continue, talking about it and doing it, so that at the end of the day, everybody gets to know how to prepare nutritious food. Over to you, Tavi.
That is very, very interesting, that you can have nutritious food, but if you don't prepare it right, then it beats the purpose, because if you're not preparing it well, then you lose the essence. Overcooking greens, yes, you have your vegetables, but if you overcook it, you lose all the nutrients, and you just end up eating, calorific content that has very little nutritional value. So that's very great input. I really like that, Unike. Tabby, to you, you've had your feet on the ground. What do you have to say about that? Like, what's the challenge that the food producers are also purportedly also the hungry ones? Very briefly.
Yeah, the hungry ones, because we also have to look at the social systems in Africa where disproportionately people are pushed to the margins of margins of the social structure, where even the farms that people actually work on, the scales are not even sufficient, so that becomes really primarily subsistence. That's where you go to the periphery of subsistence. You can imagine that. That means you are not even able to produce enough food that subsistently can take you through your own daily needs. That's one. Then also on the other side of it, we look at the climate influences and the extreme weather events that are often very erratic and affecting, production. And production in Africa, where it's so seasonally dependent and rain-fed, where we have more rain this year, we can have even more food. And imagine a situation where more food means, really little income, right? Rain deficit or excessive rain means disaster for production. So at the end of the day, you can actually see people, having different, it's a whole system, a mixture of different dynamics that are actually often affecting people. And then when you look at also the spectrum of equality and inequalities, who are those that are actually growing these crops? Do they earn something? Where you have to choose between, taking what you ought to eat to sell, to buy medical need or health, to buy medicine for yourself. So these are choices that are actually affecting, rural grassroots farmers that makes the paradox a reality. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Tabby. In the spirit of inclusivity, Africa is diverse. You can see from our dressing, our theme is the Africa Youth Dialogues. We have a variety of colors and languages as well. So we do have French-speaking countries in Africa, for those who don't know. And we have a question that I'd like to pose to Divine. If you could do the honors of speaking and translating for us. It's a question posed in French. Over to you, Divine.
Definitely, of course. Oui, chers participants, merci beaucoup pour cette opportunité. Et par rapport à vos questions, je vois ça en deux volets. Le premier volet, c'est des ODD. Comment mettre les ODD au centre et prioritaire de tout le monde, de toute la jeunesse et tout ça. Et deuxième des choses, c'est que vous demandez comment la jeunesse pourra, plus que 2 milliards de personnes meurent de l'insécurité, l'alimentation et de l'insécurité, beaucoup. Bon, comment nous poussions, avec ces plateformes, initialiser le processus pour qu'on essaye de se mettre en conformité avec la discussion qui est en cours. Bon, je pense que vraiment, pour beaucoup de suggestions, nous avons beaucoup de plateformes, beaucoup d'initiations que nous avons pu mettre sur pied. Et vous avez vu les liens. Bon, si vraiment vous vous approchez de nous, on pourra vraiment mieux partager et travailler ensemble avec vous. Et deuxièmement, il y a des mails là, il y a des emails que nous avons partagés ensemble avec vous. Vous puissiez aussi nous contacter par ces emails. Mais concrètement, sachez que la FAO a l'objectif 1, l'objectif 2, comment éradiquer la pauvreté et zéro faim, n'est-ce pas? Bon, avec cette optique, nous sommes tellement ravis de travailler ensemble avec vous. Et maintenant, par rapport à l'insécurité de l'alimentation, vous voyez ce sommet qui vient vraiment en bonne et due forme en 2021. C'est vraiment un sommet pour le peuple. C'est pour le peuple et non pour vraiment pour les individus. C'est pour les peuples. Bon, chacun aura sa voix et à faire sa voix entendre dans ce forum. Et nous sommes très fiers que la plateforme de l'ONU est à au moins 6 langues. Vous pouvez contribuer là-bas dans les langues qui vous tendent mieux, quoi. Et puis, avec cela, je vous remercie beaucoup. Merci. And thank you very much, Amanda, for this opportunity indeed. Then, should I address the next question?
Maybe a brief translation for the English speakers.
Okay, good. Yeah, actually, what I was saying just now, I got a question from someone from a French-speaking country where he was trying to he was articulating the fact that, or understanding the fact that, I mean, food insecurity is really rampant. So how are we as these leaders here and at this summit, how are we going to address these issues? So I was just explaining to them that, okay, this summit is actually timely because it's a people summit where everybody is going to share his view, going to share what he feels can actually redesign the food system agenda. And then the second thing he was asking is that how is FAO actually using the SDGs to domesticate or to eradicate this extreme poverty and hunger? And I was telling him that, of course, FAO SDG 2, which is ending hunger, is one of their top priorities. So that is something, that's an initiative that they could equally join efforts with us here as the leaders to share more information with them. So I equally told him that there are some links that have been shared there. And of course, the links are bilingual, about 6 languages, because the UN has 6 official languages and plus. So he could log in there and then equally get more information in his more appropriate language. Yeah.
All right. That was well articulated, Divine, and thank you for representing the French speakers in Africa. Yes, you can go ahead to answer the second question.
Yeah, the second question was actually, I think, I mean, it was from Prussia or something. I don't know. I can't remember the name, but she was trying to see how she could boost her efforts in Kenya. The answer is very simple. CSAYN has the most active country, member country of CSAYS in Kenya, being hosted at SIAD, where, of course, Amanda was one of the initiators of the process. So I will really directly link the person or the organization to Victor in Kenya, where they could actually sit at the table and then discuss and see how they can contribute meaningfully. Yeah.
Great. Thank you for your questions. Please keep posting them. Our panelists will be addressing them case by case. For those that relate to everyone, I will ask them. And unfortunately, we have limited resources, time being a limited resource, and we have to close the Q&A session. So I would like to invite Yana to speak on behalf of the Global Alliance for Climate Smart Agriculture. It is very unfortunate we didn't get Ambassador Hans. However, Yana, we are really happy to hear from you. Please take the stage.
Thank you so much, Amanda. I mean, I apologize that the ambassador could not join. There were some technical issues. I believe that everyone would love to hear also from him on GACSA's behalf. And you know, this discussion was amazing. And I can say that on behalf from my team and from all our team members and GACSA members, we're extremely happy to support these kind of dialogues, especially seeing the youth and the enthusiasm. And of course, ladies, as I mentioned earlier, I love your outfits. So that's really like bringing out the colors and amazing. Really, I highly appreciate that you dressed up like this for this special occasion. Just a quick background about GACSA. It's an action-oriented stakeholder platform focusing on scaling up climate smart agriculture. So to all the participants, please get in touch with us. I'm going to be sending out our website and social media accounts into the chat box. So please get in touch with us. We would be more than happy to support these dialogues in the future. And one more time, thank you very much for joining. And I'm enjoying this so much, and hopefully everyone else is. So thank you, Amanda. Over to you.
Thank you, Yana. Succinct and to the point. Yes, so I'd like to just allow the panelists to give maybe a final remark very quickly. I'm sure you have been engaging with the audience via the chat box. And then after that, I will invite Dr. Martin Frick to give his closing remarks. And then I'll invite Jolly at the end. So panelists, I can start with Esther. If you're still online, I can see you here. But meanwhile, Divine, you can give your closing marks in English and in French. You're muted.
Yeah, this is very unique. This is very, very unique. And I'm so excited seeing all these leaders on board. I'm really, really excited. And I think with this group, we can actually shape redesign the food system. And actually, I want to say that one of the take-home messages I want the participants to go with is to engage in the action tracks, sign up as Food System Europe, and equally connect with us, because as a champion on my capacity, I'll be able to equally facilitate some of the country dialogues and together with this team. And the last word I have to say is to thank GACSA and of course Martin Frick, because Martin Frick has been an engine behind this, and Julie as well. Thanks to all of you. Unike, nice meeting you again after so many years. So thank you, Amanda. I'm really grateful.
Okay. You forgot the French translation.
Oh my goodness. Oui, merci beaucoup Amanda pour cette opportunité. Et vraiment, ça c'est vraiment une plateforme qui pourra changer, transformer la jeunesse africaine et mondiale dans le système de sécurité alimentaire. Et vraiment, je suis tellement ravi. Étant le champion nommé par le secrétariat, je pense que j'ai un devoir très, très important dans cette optique pour pouvoir pousser la jeunesse, la voix de la jeunesse, pousser les femmes dans cette discussion et être sûr et se rassurer que la voix de tout le monde est écoutée. Et au niveau pays, ça serait vraiment une importante devoir pour moi de vous intégrer dans vos dialogues au niveau national avec vos États membres. Et puis, il y a aussi des dialogues indépendants dont vous pouvez aussi initier. Bon, vraiment, je suis tellement libre et ravi de vous soutenir dans ça avec ce groupe. Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup, Divine. Tout de bénisse. I'd like to welcome Mike.
Yeah. All right. Thanks so much, Amanda, and thanks so much the rest of the team for having a good call like this. So let me urge my African youth that this is just a kickoff call, but we have a lot to do in our work as we come together and develop ideas on how we can transform the food systems in Africa. So moving forward, I urge you to join our group. I think the link was shared. Let us join. Let us make sure that we actively participate. The time is for us right now. Let us make sure that we go forward in transforming the food system. Yeah, sure.
Great. Before I call on Esther, I'd like to appreciate each and every one of you for staying up to this point. Please keep tweeting. This conversation does not end after the end of this event. It's the kick-off of the African Youth Dialogue. So this is just the beginning. We will keep sharing the chat handles in the Twitter handles in the chat box. Keep tweeting, keep posting your questions, and keep engaging. So Esther, your closing remarks?
Thank you so much, Amanda. This is just to urge all the youths. Let's be participative. Let's make this process fun. Let's engage in the food system process. All the activities, anyone who wants to hold a dialogue, independent dialogue, reach out to me. I'll share my email. I'll be happy to assist in any way I can. Anything you want to know about the food systems, I've shared the link to the working group. Join us. Let's walk this journey together. Thank you.
Thank you too, Esther. Tabby.
Yeah, thank you, Amanda. Once again, I just want to say, everyone out there, no one is too dull, no one is too stupid, no one is too intelligent, and no one is too great to be part of us. We all have what it takes to lead this process in our own little way. So whatever little contribution that you may have in whatever little community, in a cave in Africa, wherever you might be, I appreciate you to join us. And in my leadership, I will make sure we all are included, we all are taken on board, and we lead this process in a more inclusive, comprehensive, collaborative, and successful way for the best interest of Africa. And I want to use this opportunity to say thank you, the Secretariat, for making us, have this leadership. Thank you, Dr. Martin Frigg, for always being the strong guide out there. You are not just guiding us, you're guiding all young people across the world. I imagine how much energy you have. I really want to be like you when I grow up. And Jolly, thank you very much. Amanda, everyone, and all the participants out there, guys, we are all the same. Let's be on the same page. Wishing you all the best. And GACSA, thank you. Merci beaucoup. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Tabby. Unique.
I think everybody has said all the nice things, so I don't know how much more I can put up, but I just want to emphasize to everybody out there that the food systems dialogues are ongoing. For those that might not know, there are various dialogues going on. We have member state dialogues, we have the global summit dialogues, and we have independent summit dialogues, which I'm hoping, which are being done by, independent individuals. So I want to encourage, each one out there to, to start a dialogue. It's about, having discussions, roundtable discussions on, collective action for transforming the food system. So it's not only about us, but it's about you out there. And with what my colleagues have said, the social kit will be shared, in the chat. You can have a read through and see how you can start your own dialogue and bring in as many people as possible on board. I mean, we have to make this big. This is the Africa we want, and everything rests in us. So Jolie and everybody else, thank you so much for bringing us together. COVID hasn't got anything on us yet. We still have many more milestones to achieve. So thank you so much, and good luck to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Unique. Yana, I know you spoke on GACSA. I would also be interested to know what you have to say.
Well, I mean, really, this has been a great pleasure, and how you, Amanda, mentioned, the conversation does not end here. This is the start. This is the kickoff webinar, and we should all make sure that we bear this in our minds. I know it's before holiday season, but we should take 2021 as a new start, as new opportunities, and get more involved in these amazing dialogues, get more people involved, get more connected, and really try to make the difference. I would put it this way. So thank you very much. It has been a huge pleasure. One more time, thank you very much for attending, and it's been a huge pleasure for GACSA. So thank you very much.
Thank you to the panelists and Dr. Martin Frick. You've been front and center of this whole process. We keep meeting in various fronts, and here we are again. In Swahili, there is a proverb that says, "Mwendatezi na omo marejeo ni ngamani." So you mean, like, you can go forth, you can go back, but you still have to meet right at the center. So, I mean, we've started with you. We've gone through the Q&A, we've had our panelists speak, and now we're coming back to you. So what are your remarks? And also as UN the Deputy to the Special Envoy, what do you foresee for 2021? And also for the African youth, you're also very passionate about Africans. So over to you.
Thank you, and thank you, everybody. It's been a wonderful, energizing experience. And, I was thinking that what we are doing with this summit is really just being the carpenters to build a big stage, but the people on that stage is you. Because food systems are not going to be transformed by talking, they are transformed by doing. And we need the people on the ground, we need the communities. And it's wonderful to see how such a community is emerging here with young leadership. I would really like to encourage all of you to bring the same spirit, the same dialogues in your local communities, and make people think about food systems. There is not a single human being that would not be a stakeholder in food systems. So do get these dialogues, bring the communities together, fill the container that we are building really with life. I'm very happy to see so much activity on Twitter, in the chat box, so many different organizations who are taking on really the hard work. And I think, a couple of days ago, the Secretary General of the United Nations has delivered a big speech on the state of the planet. And he also mentioned that in all the environmental challenges we are having, and in simple terms, we are about to destroy our home planet. Our chance to get it right starts with the smallholder farmers. And if we understand that these people who are now disempowered and hungry and malnourished and in conflict, they are our army to really change this planet around and to rebuild our ecosystems around us, to create a food secure future, to create a space for humanity where we are going back and live within our planetary boundaries. I think then we are really, really up to something. So I can just hope you continue doing what you're doing. You get more followers, you got more people working with you. This was fantastic. And I can tell you, we have an overwhelming majority with our food system heroes coming from Africa. Keep it coming. We need more African heroes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Martin Frick. And I also take the liberty on behalf of Generation Africa and Go-Getters to reinforce our participation in the Food System Summit dialogue going forward. I also have the regards of Dixon Naftali Martin, you know him very well, and also a very special acknowledgement to Jolly Dusabe. She's been behind the scenes, like a duck. They seem so graceful, but beneath the water, they paddle ever so vigorously. So the vigorous paddling is being done by Jolly Dusabe, who's, I know she's watching us. So thank you so much, Jolly, for doing all the heavy lifting and for making us look very, very good. So thank you also to our hosts for this event, GACSA. Thank you to FAO also, and to each and every one of you for making the time. Thank you, and let us keep engaging. Have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening from wherever you are. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye, everyone. Sure.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye. Thank you for everyone. Thank you.